Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Wheeler, I'm going to give you an opportunity to share a little bit in terms of the approaches we need on an international basis. But before we get into that, I'd really like some specific thoughts with regard to an item that you do have control over, and that's the nationwide plan to develop E-15 markets. Last week, an EPA spokesman commented on the EPA's proposal to permit the sale of year-round E-15, which is 15% ethanol and 85% regular petroleum products. And the quote that was given to us is this: "This is a priority for both President Trump and Acting Administrator Wheeler. The ongoing partial shutdown will not impede the EPA's ability to keep our deadline." I think one of the concerns that a lot of producers in the upper Midwest have with regard to ethanol is that in order to get into the summer driving season, we really need to have the guidelines and rules laid out as quickly as possible. Do you believe that you will be able to commit to finalizing the EPA's rule permitting year-round sale of E-15 before the summer driving season starts?
As of today, yes, but I do caveat that with we're unable to work on it right now during the government shutdown.
Where are you in the process, and when do you expect the proposed rule to be released? What's your best guess? And I understand you got a government shutdown you got to work around as well, sir.
I believe we were originally planning on issuing the proposal in February. We've been, I kept the EPA open an additional week, longer than the rest of the federal government. So we haven't been shut down as long as some of the other federal agencies and departments. It's not a day-for-day exchange as far as how much longer it will take us on the proposal, but we may be slightly delayed at this point. But we will get it done before the summer driving season, provided we are back
in a reasonable length of time.
In a reasonable time.
Okay. With regard to within the law, small petroleum refineries are offered the opportunity to request a rollback on their requirement to actually incorporate ethanol into their products. Right now, that's amounted to about a 2.25 billion gallon per year reduction in the total amount of ethanol that's been incorporated into the fuel supplies. I don't think the original intent of Congress was that reduces the total amount of ethanol that is actually being marketed. Can you share with us your thoughts about the options that we've got when we recognize that the law allows those refineries to take a reduction or to apply for a reduction? What guidelines or what alternatives or what authority do you have to try to still meet the original goals for ethanol production, while at the same time honoring the guidelines of the law that allow those smaller refineries a hardship exemption? And can that exemption be reduced if you feel that you cannot meet the guidelines that Congress established with regard to the RVOs?
Well, it's as you know, Senator, we've had 3 court cases on the small refinery program instigated during the court cases were instigated during the Obama administration when they were not granting any small refinery exemptions, and EPA has lost all 3 in the courts. So we are moving forward to implement the small refinery exemption. It is included in the Clean Air, well, it's in the RFS program as part of the Energy Policy Act of 2005, Clean Air Act, but it's also been encouraged through the appropriations process. We've gotten appropriations language telling us to implement the small refinery exemption program as well. You're correct. There are 2 competing issues there. Where if you grant a small refinery, it takes barrels away from the overall RFS goal of 15 billion gallons. There's not a lot of leeway for us there. It depends somewhat on the timing of the applications, but if we were to reduce the 15 billion gallons by the amount that we grant, then you'd end up having a rolling impact on having more refineries being subjected to higher levels of the ethanol mandate, and you could end up having even more refineries having to, being eligible for the exemption. What we have tried to do is provide more transparency. We started the dashboard this past fall so that everybody understands what we're doing on the small refinery exemption. And we're also taking a hard look at the overall numbers through our reset program that we intend to move forward, both the reset and the E-15 and our RVOs. We're hoping to propose all 3 of those in February.
Very good. Thank you. My time has expired. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator White.